Hey, this is Legolog, and I like to build things. This week we're making a recognizer from the film TRON. After printing all the parts on my Ender 3 Max Neo, it was time to assemble. I've put together quite a few of these recognizers over the last few years, and the glue up process has changed a few times. My first few attempts were with crazy glue, and that just didn't really work how I wanted it to. See, each trim piece sits on a ledge on the main model, and while some of the pieces have tight enough tolerances to be a pressure fit, the added security of the glue goes a long way. The problem with regular crazy glue though is that the application tip puts out too much glue, and with such delicate pieces, it gets everywhere. Early on, I spent a lot of time both gluing my fingers to the model and also trying to clean up the fog that the crazy glue leaves on the black PLA specifically. I eventually gave up on the crazy glue and swapped to Elmer's glue, just standard white glue. I would take a toothpick or a push pin or something small and pointy that would get the glue in the places it needed to be. It did take longer to dry, and it took some tape to keep certain pieces in place, but it dried clear, and that was pretty important, especially compared to the crazy glue. I finally got to a spot though where I knew there had to be a better way. Watching videos from boy like Hobby Time, Studson Studio, Bill Making Stuff, and a bunch of other crafters led me down a rabbit hole to find CA glue with a precision application nozzle. I don't make or paint minis for D&D or other tabletop games, but I imagine this CA glue is really popular in that scene, especially Warhammer 40k. Even with the precision nozzle, I've managed to glue my fingers to a model here and there, but the glue up process in general has become very streamlined with this new glue. I love the aesthetics in TRON and TRON Legacy, and this was one of the first things I printed when I got a printer with a build volume large enough to handle this model. If you're new to 3D printing, I don't know if this is the model I would suggest right off the bat, but once you have some settings tuned in, it is a fun model to print and assemble. This might be an odd thing to describe without the model in hand, but all the trim pieces sit on the outside edges of the model except for two, and they're usually either the first ones or the last ones to go in. As 3D printing is a game of micro adjustments, that means sometimes the pieces fit perfectly, and sometimes it takes a little bit of finessing, and even more occasionally, sometimes a little bit of brute force. That said, with all the pieces in place, let's take a look at the whole model. If you like this video, consider liking and subscribing. And if you like this model but don't want to assemble it yourself, consider picking one up from my Etsy shop, Legolog Builds. Link is in the bio.